everybody. Welcome back to chapter 13 of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's getting pretty good, isn't it? Yes, this is getting to be pretty exciting. Don't know what's gonna happen next, but I can't wait to find out with you. So yesterday in our reading, who showed up at Aslan's camp wanting to speak to Aslan? It was the White Witch. Do you remember? She sent who? Her dwarf over to say that she wanted to talk to him. And we don't know what she wants to talk to him about, but we are going to find out soon. And so Aslan agreed, and he said yes, as long as she doesn't bring what with her to their meeting? Her wand. That's right, because if she brought her wand, what could she do to Aslan? She could just turn him right into stone. So he said, I'll meet with her, but she's not allowed to have her wand with her. And so she agreed, and that's where we left off yesterday. So we'll pick up right there. A few minutes later, the witch herself walked out onto the top of the hill and came straight across and stood before Aslan. The three children who had not seen her before felt shudders running down their backs at the sight of her face, and there were low growls among all the animals present. Though it was bright sunshine, everyone felt suddenly cold. The only two people present who seemed to be quite at their ease were Aslan and the witch herself. It was the oddest thing to see those two faces, the golden face and the dead white face, so close together. Not that the witch looked Aslan exactly in his eyes. Mrs. Beaver particularly noticed this. "You have a traitor there, Aslan," said the witch. Of course, everyone present knew that she meant Edmund. But Edmund had got past thinking about himself after all he'd been through and after the talk he'd had that morning. He just went on looking at Aslan. It didn't seem to matter what the witch said. "Well," said Aslan, "his offense is not against you." "Have you forgotten the deep magic?" asked the witch. "Let us say I have forgotten it," answered Aslan gravely. "Tell us of this deep magic." "Tell you?" said the witch, her voice growing suddenly shriller. "Tell you what is written on that very table of stone which stands beside us? Tell you what is written in letters deep as a spear is long on the fire stones on the secret hill? Tell you what is engraved on the scepter of the emperor beyond the sea? You at least know the magic which the emperor put into Narnia at the very beginning. You know that every traitor belongs to me as my lawful prey, and that for every treachery, I have a right to a kill." "Oh," said Mr. Beaver, "so that's how you came to imagine yourself a queen, because you were the emperor's hangman, I see." "Peace, Beaver," said Aslan with a very low growl. "And so," continued the witch, "that human creature is mine. His life is forfeit to me. His blood is my property." "Come and take it then," said the bull with the man's head in a great bellowing voice. "Fool," said the witch with a savage smile that was almost a snarl. "Do you really think your master can rob me of my rights by mere force? He knows the deep magic better than that. He knows that unless I have blood, as the law says, all Narnia will be overturned and perish in fire and water." "It is very true," said Aslan. "I do not deny it." "Oh, Aslan," whispered Susan in the lion's ear. "Can't we, you won't, will you? Can't we do something about the deep magic? Isn't there something you can work against it?" "Work against the emperor's magic?" said Aslan, turning to her with something like a frown on his face. And nobody ever made that suggestion to him again. Edmund was on the other side of Aslan, looking all the time at Aslan's face. He felt a choking feeling and wondered if he ought to say something. But a moment later, he felt that he was not expected to do anything except to wait and do what he was told. "Fall back, all of you," said Aslan, "and I will talk to the witch alone." They all obeyed. It was a terrible time, this, waiting and wondering, while the lion and the witch talked earnestly together in low voices. Lucy said, "Oh, Edmund," and began to cry. Peter stood with his back to the others, looking out at the distant sea. The beavers stood, holding each other's paws and their heads bowed. The centaurs stamped uneasily with their hoofs, but everyone became perfectly still in the end, so that you noticed even small sounds like a bumblebee flying past, or the birds in the forest down below them, or the wind rustling the leaves. And still the talk between Aslan and the White Witch went on. At last, they heard Aslan's voice. "You can all come back," he said. "I have settled the matter. She has renounced the claim on your brother's blood." And all over the hill there was a noise as if everyone had been holding their breath and had now begun breathing again, and then a murmur of talk. The witch was just turning away with a look of fierce joy on her face when she stopped and said, "But how do I know this promise will be kept?" "Roar!" roared Aslan, half rising from his throne, and his great mouth opened wider and wider, and the roar grew louder and louder, and the witch, after staring for a moment with her lips wide apart, picked up her skirts and fairly ran for her life. So this is a little bit of a confusing part, isn't it? We don't quite know what's going on. We know that there is a deep magic, as they're calling it, at work. That means if there is a traitor, then the witch is entitled to kill for it. And so Edmund was the traitor, wasn't he? That's right. And it was interesting. Did you remember the part when they were talking about the emperor's magic? He was the one, the emperor's magic was the deep magic that set these rules into place. The emperor was the one that created the whole world, all of Narnia. So who do you think they might be talking about when they're talking about the emperor? If we were thinking about our world, who created our world? God. That's right. So that is a parallel between our story here and our real life, is that they have someone that created the world and set rules into place, and we have rules that we kind of live by too that we get from the Bible, and it's kind of the same thing in this story too, and I wonder if there might be more parallels coming up as we read further. We'll have to wait and see. But the thing I'm most curious about is how Aslan convinced the witch not to take Edmund and kill him. So maybe think about that tonight and see if you come up with any ideas of what kind of agreement they might have reached that allowed the witch to not claim Edmund and take her with him, and she just left. So we will continue with our story tomorrow, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.